Hi founders, my name is Kushal and welcome to a new episode of Know Your Term Sheet. This is a series of videos where I help demystify the standard VC term sheet so that you, my founder friends, know what you're signing up for. If you have been liking the content that we have been putting out, please do hit those like and subscribe buttons so that we can reach out to even more founders like you. So today we will be discussing another important term from the standard VC term sheet, which is the exit rights. Remember how we discussed a couple of episodes back that VCs basically invest somebody else's money, which is their investors or their LPs money, and they promise to return this money to them in a fixed time frame, which is usually 8 years or 10 years. How exactly do they promise that? How do they know that if I invest in a company in 2021, I will be able to sell my shares at the max by 2029 or 2028 and give this money back to my own investors? How do they enforce this? They do this via something called exit rights. So exit rights essentially mean that the promoters or the company promises to the investors that we will help facilitate an exit for you and your shareholding in this company via one of three common routes, which I'll explain shortly, and in a fixed time frame, usually in 5 to 6 years. Basically, this means that the company and the founder is promising to the investors that I will figure out a way to give you an exit within 5 to 6 years on a best effort basis. And usually this is done via three routes, as I said. Number one is an IPO, number two is a strategic sale, and number three is a buyback. So an IPO is a public offering of the company, as the company becomes a public company. So for example, Make My Trip did this, it went public on NASDAQ many years back. In an IPO, the investor shares get converted into common shares and then they can just sell them to whoever they want on the market and it becomes freely tradable. So they get instant liquidity. This is like a dream scenario. Number two is a strategic sale, right? So sometimes a company might sell itself to a larger competitor, to another larger player who wants to enter the industry, or to a PE fund, or to anybody else who wants to buy a stake in that business, right? Usually these are transactions where the entire company is sold, but sometimes it's a part of the company being sold as well. So Walmart buying Flipkart, for example, was a very good example of a strategic sale or a buyout. And the number three is a buyback, which is the company or the promoters themselves will buy the investors' shares back from them at a fair market value, which is usually decided by a top 4 auditing firm. So the above three routes are fairly clear. You are basically promising to the investor that either I will take this company public, or I will sell this company or a part of it to someone else, or we will buy back your shares at fair market value ourselves. Right? So these are the usual three ways in which a founder can basically give an exit to the investor. Then there's a fourth way, which is called a drag along right, which is usually structured as if the founder fails to give an exit to the investor via these three ways that I just discussed, then the investor, and usually this is a lead investor or a majority of the investors, the investor has a right to go and find a buyer for their own shares and for the founder's shares and basically sell the whole company to somebody else. Right? So this means that the investors have a right to sell the entire company even without your consent. Then that sounds dangerous, right? And it is. To the best of my knowledge, no investor or VC in India has ever exercised this drag along clause, because doing so will immediately destroy their reputation and their brand, and it will be very hard for them to get any other founder to take their money after that, right? Like once it's known that this is the guy who basically made another founder sell their own company without their consent, their reputation is destroyed, right? So who would want to take money from that kind of an investor? Nobody, right? So then if this clause is never used, then why is it there in the first place? So let's talk about these rights in some context. So usually when investors fund these startups, you can broadly classify the outcomes of these investments in three categories, right? So category one is a failure. Most companies fail, they try to build something, it doesn't work and they shut down. In this case, investors usually get zero amount back. Category 2 is the hits. If you're an investor in an Ola or a Flipkart or a Razorpay or any of the other companies which becomes a unicorn, then your stake multiplies manyfold and you're sitting on a lot of money. And number 3 is the survivors. Now this, once in a while, there are companies which don't really die out, but they don't hit it out of the park either, right? So imagine a scenario where somebody raises 2 or 5 crore rupees in investment and they scale the company to a point where it's doing 30-40 crores in annual revenue with say 5-10 crores in profit, which could be enough to pay these founders a 1 or 2 crore rupee salary per year, which means they could be fairly happy with their progress. But that company is not growing by leaps and bounds and it doesn't look like it's going to become the next Flipkart or the next Uber or the next Facebook, right? It's not died out, but it's not a failure either. It's just continuing along on a path. Most normal businesses work like that. Now, the investor outcomes in scenario 1 and 2 are clear. Investors usually lose all their money in scenario 1 and they make a ton of money in scenario 2. Drag rights in these two contexts are usually not really applicable, because in scenario 1, well, there's no company left to drag, and in scenario 2, it is highly unlikely and almost impossible that an investor will force a founder whose company is doing really, really well and growing by leaps and bounds to sell that company without their consent, right? Besides the obvious reputational hazard that I mentioned earlier, this is also financially a bad choice, right? Why would you want to sell out of a company which is growing really fast and doing so well? In outcome 3 is where investors get stuck, because there the founder has no reason to sell a small profitable business, and it's very hard to find a buyer for that business as well, or even for the investor's minority stake, because nobody wants to buy a 10, 20%, 30% stake in a business that is majority owned by somebody else and run full time by somebody else, right? Buyers are typically PE funds or larger companies who usually want to buy the company outright, or they want to buy at least a majority stake in that company. So if the founder reaches such a stage in their life where they have a small profitable business which is not growing very fast, but it's not bad either, it's making decent money for them, the investors get stuck in that outcome, right? Because it's highly unlikely that they will find a buyer on their own. So to give investors some leverage and to essentially force such a founder to buy back the investors' shares, investors put in the drag along clause. Here too, their first preference would be to let the founder buy them out, or let the company buy them out and give them an exit. But in case the founder says I don't care, or decides that I will not cooperate, or decides to lowball them on the price, then they can use a drag along clause and say, okay, fine, we'll go and find another buyer if you don't treat us fairly. Now remember that for a VC fund, the number one priority is to return their investors' money back with a healthy profit. That's how they'll themselves make money, and so they will do everything in their power to make sure that they can return the fund, and hence a drag right is put in every deal that they do. From the founder's perspective though, this is very obviously a dangerous right to agree to, and it's the last place you want to be in after years of building a company which has now finally turned profitable, right? You don't want to be seeing your company sold without your consent, however unlikely that scenario is. So can you as a founder negotiate this? Yes, you can. If you have multiple investors quoting you, then you can say that I am uncomfortable with the drag along rights, and you can push back. I have seen deals where founders give exit rights to their investors. That is, they promise either an IPO or a strategic sale or a company buyback will happen, but they do not give a drag along right to the investor. If you're a hot deal, you've got multiple people chasing you, then you might get away with this. If you don't have multiple offers, however, then it's unlikely that you will get away without drag along rights, and you'll probably have to give them to your lead investor. So you can mitigate the risk of the drag right by structuring it such that it is only applicable if 1, 2 and 3 have not happened. That is, IPO has not happened, buyback has not happened, sale has not happened, and then you can the drag along right can kick in if these options are exhausted. Secondly, you can also mitigate this risk by structuring so that investors can only drag your company if a majority of them agree to it, right? So it shouldn't be with only one investor. If they unilaterally decide to sell your company, they can go ahead and do it. You should structure it such that if a majority of the investors group agree to sell the company, then they can drag the founders if they have not done 1, 2 and 3 that I mentioned earlier. This is because it is obviously hard for any one investor to get everybody on board against the founder's wishes, right? Unless you have messed up monumentally, that is highly unlikely to happen. So it's best to give this right, but to a group of investors and not just one person. You can definitely avoid giving drag along rights or for that matter any exit rights to angel investors, since their checks are very small and usually they are backing you because they trust you. So in conclusion, drag along rights are commonly asked for but almost never used. Try and avoid them if you can, but if you can't, then just take the deal you're getting, move on and build the company of your dreams. So that's it for this one today, folks. If you like this video, if you have a different point of view, please do tell us in the comments. I would love to hear from all of you. Thank you so much for watching. Keep building, keep hustling. Cheers.